Hi, Dr. P here, and I'm going to talk about a way of playing strategic military style games with an economic component and use a term that I haven't seen used before, but who knows, that I call bootstrapping. Now, this has come to mind this time because I've been playing Empire Deluxe Enhanced Edition, which is an old video game based on Empire Deluxe, which was based on Empire, but a classic game. And in that game, the economic capability comes from cities. When you fight over a city, the economic capability degrades. But if you let the city sit and don't build anything there, then slowly the economic capability increases. So the way to advance your empire is to go into an area and take some cities. Usually, in my case, there's islands, and you take all the cities on an island or on a continent, and then you let them sit for a while because they've probably been damaged to begin with by the enemy being bots in this case, and then it gets damaged as you take them, and you wait until they're up to snuff, so to speak, and then you use the units you build in those cities to make a new offensive. So you're kind of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. That's where the term comes from. Now, this can happen in a lot of games. For example, in Britannia, if you can manage to eke out a single clear terrain area, then in 3 turns, you'll be able to build an army from the economic value of that clear terrain area. So over time, you can build up forces for further offensives, or at least for further defenses. So frequently, this happens in games that are long games, large scale games with an economic component. Now let's contrast this with snowballing, which is a common occurrence in games that are virtually all economic. In snowballing, you get ahead by more efficient methods or by chance, as the case may be, and then because you're using your economy to build up your economy, which you can't do in Britannia and you can't do in many military games because you have to take areas to do that. You can't just sit there and let it go. The economy as a whole snowballs. It gets bigger. And if you're ahead of the other guys, it gets bigger faster than they get bigger. And so in the end, it's like a snowball rolling downhill, and it becomes very large. So in a sense, snowballing kind of happens on its own if you can get it going. In bootstrapping, you've got to do something. You've got to be active. You've got to capture economic capability from another player. So bootstrapping is very slow generally compared with snowballing. But that's because, among other things, it requires that you take something away from somebody else. Snowballing doesn't do that. Snowballing, you're using the economic engine to advance yourself regardless of what the other players do. The question is, are you doing it more efficiently than they are? Well, I think bootstrapping is fundamental to many military games where you're depicting wars rather than battles. In other words, where economy becomes important. Thanks for listening.